I never thought the most devastating betrayal could come from the person I loved most. My husband, Mark, the man I built a life with, shattered my heart with a single slip of the tongue, calling me by his ex-wife's name. It was Christmas morning, families gathered and spirits high, only to be brought down by a single word that turned everything upside down. I was Lena Brooks, 32, a proud resident of Bayside, New Jersey, and nothing could prepare me for the emotional landmine that awaited me that day. When we first moved in, I noticed he had a few odd quirks. One was about coffee. He asked me not to leave half-drunk cups in the sink because it grossed him out. The cream curdled. I figured it was just one of those little things couples learn to handle. He told me it was something his ex-wife used to do, and I agreed, wanting to create a home that felt good for both of us. I washed the mugs, took care of the coffee cups. The relationship had its challenges, sure, but little things like that seemed manageable. That fateful Christmas turned my irritation into something much darker. At my family's holiday gathering, right in front of my parents, he casually dropped her name. One second, the festive cheer enveloped us, and the next, I was frozen, my heart racing, a shockwave of humiliation rippling through me. I shot him a look, stunned by the casualness, like it was just another day. "I'm sorry," he mumbled quickly, brushing it off. I wanted to scream, to shake him, but we were at my family's house. I held back, but resentment brewed inside me. Then, of course, we headed to his family's house for the second round. I told myself the first slip was just an accident, but then it happened again. And again. By the third time, I could barely hold it together. The harder I tried to smile and enjoy the festivities, the more I felt like I was cracking. I snapped at him, loud enough for everyone to hear, "My name is Lena." The room fell silent. I felt all eyes on me. His family looked puzzled, and I could see his face sink in embarrassment. My heart raced with anger, but also with shame as I held my composure. When we got home that evening, a strange silence unfurled between us. He was on the verge of tears, repeatedly apologizing. "Christmas was a big deal for her," he said, as if that would make it less horrible. I didn't want his explanations. I needed him to understand how much those moments hurt me. But no matter how many times he apologized, the emotional weight of that day lingered like a fog. He had brought back ghosts from his past, haunting me not just with words but with feelings of inadequacy. As he drifted off to sleep, the fury simmered. I lay there, gripping my pillow, mulling over what had happened. Instead of crying or giving in, anger ignited a spark. I plotted my revenge. If he wanted me to be someone else, then I'd give him what he wanted. I'd become her. I'd become the very thing he could not shake himself free from. When dawn broke, I sprang into action, brewing a full pot of coffee, just like she used to. I smirked as I lined up every mug from the cabinet, taking my time, relishing the predictability of my plan. I poured cup after cup, 22 in total, one for each time I would remind him of what he'd done. By the time I was done, the kitchen sink was an abomination, chock full of curdling cream and bitter coffee. It was my masterpiece, my silent protest against being overshadowed by a ghost. I felt triumphant. Mark's footsteps echoed down the hallway as he walked obliviously towards the kitchen. I'd made my revenge, but would it work? I perched by the counter, my fresh cup of coffee in hand, warm and inviting, waiting for him to react. His face paled as he entered the kitchen. I didn't say a word. My heart raced as he took in the scene, his old ex-wife's perfect coffee mess strewn across our sink. It was hard to read his expression. Shock, horror, maybe regret. He simply lowered his head as if accepting the punishment that he himself had unwittingly orchestrated. I sipped my coffee, darling cream swirling around and toasting him in a way that conveyed my feelings. I wasn't just smiling. I was letting him know this was no longer about her. It was about me. I watched him clean up the cups, one by one, scrubbing away his past while I savored the moment. In the following days, something shifted. Mark never called me by her name again. Each time he stammered out Lena, I felt empowered. I felt like I had taken back my identity, shattered her fleeting shadow. The coffee cups became a poignant reminder of my power. I'd transformed the shame into something invigorating, and it felt deliciously sweet. As life unfolded, I realized that sometimes we need to realize our worth to reclaim who we are. I wasn't just Lena, standing in the shadows of someone else's memory. I was reclaiming my space and my life. Mark and I carried on, our marriage shifted, but I found the courage to speak about my needs honestly. We discussed the past, and I confronted my feelings. In doing so, I learned to forgive, not just him, but myself for feeling less than I deserved. Fast forward to today, and I don't dwell on that Christmas. I turned the shame into strength. Mark hasn't slipped up again, but if he ever does, I know I have a little reminder up my sleeve. That night, I poured myself a cup of coffee with cream, not just for the warmth, but as a symbol of what I had reclaimed. The ghosts of his past lingered, but now they danced to my tune, no longer overshadowing the essence of who I am. My name is Lena, and that's all I ever wanted.